Hello everyone, and welcome back to Potted Plant Entertainment. My name is Chris, and in case you don't know, I review movies and I rank them on a scale of 0 to 100 in increments of 5. Today, we are going to be talking about The Green Mile. The Green Mile was released in 1999 and stars Tom Hanks, Michael Clarke Duncan, David Morse, Michael Jeter, Doug Hutchinson, and Sam Rockwell. It was directed by Frank Darabont, and it was produced by Frank Darabont and David Valdez. And this movie tells a story of a man, played by Tom Hanks, who works as a prison warden on death row in 1935. And one day, a big African-American man comes into his prison block, and there's something strange about him. Not only is he very uneducated and kind of wimpy for a guy his size, but there's something mysterious about him that you learn about him in the film. And it plays throughout the story, and it tells basically about this period of time that he's there with them, and about the other inmates that are there on the death row, and this subplot with this mouse that's really funny. And the relationship between the prison guards and the prison guards' relationship with the inmates, and how over time throughout this movie there's less inmates because they line up for their executions. Now this is back when they still did the electric chair. This, I have heard, this is based on a book written by Stephen King, and I have heard that this is his favorite film adaptation of his books, which is very high praise because he has had some fantastic adaptations. One of my favorites, let me see, where is it? It should be here. It's 1408. I love 1408. That's a great movie. He's had some really good film adaptations. It was pretty good as well. But he has said that his favorite is The Green Mile. I think that Shawshank Redemption was a book he wrote too, wasn't it? Pretty sure. But yeah, The Green Mile is, I believe, is his favorite, and I can see why. This is an extraordinary movie. I definitely think this is one of the best movies ever made. Critics didn't particularly seem to love it, but audiences definitely appreciate this movie a lot more than critics did. This movie came out a couple months after I was born. So I did not get to see this in theaters, unfortunately, but this is a really good movie. Firstly, the performances in this movie are outstanding. They are, almost everybody in this movie is Oscar worthy. There is just some incredible acting, especially by Michael Clarke Duncan. Now, Michael Clarke Duncan actually got the role in this movie because Bruce Willis, who had worked with him in Armageddon, which I love that movie. Where's Armageddon? Armageddon. I don't care what anyone says. I love Armageddon. Armageddon is such a good movie. Even though nothing in it makes sense. But he recommended him for the role because he heard about that they were looking for somebody to play this role, and Bruce Willis recommended him, and it's a good thing that he did too, because Michael Clarke Duncan got nominated for the Oscar for this movie. He didn't win it. He lost to Michael Keaton. No, not Michael Keaton. Michael Caine. That's it. Michael Caine. Yeah, Michael Caine. He lost to Michael Caine for the Oscar award. But he, honestly, I can't believe he didn't win, because he gives one of the best performances I have ever seen in this movie. Tom Hanks was really good in this movie. Sam Rockwell was really good in this movie as well. But Michael Clarke Duncan was the best by far. He was so good in this movie. It reminds me of The Dark Knight. Okay, so everybody knows this movie for Heath Ledger's performance in this film, but people seem to forget that the other actors in this movie were really good too, but their performances get overshadowed by Heath Ledger's. Well, it's the same thing here. There's some really good acting in this movie, but Michael Clarke Duncan's performance always overshadows all the other great ones in it. The cinematography in this movie is really good as well. This movie also has some great comic relief. This movie so easily could be really, really heavy and dark and moody, but it has a bunch of great moments of comic relief, and a lot of that has to do with the mouse and the characters. This movie has some fantastic characters. I love the characters in this movie. I think my favorite one would probably have to be the one played by Michael Jeter, who plays this crazy guy who's on death row, but he's like really funny, and he has a cute relationship with this mouse that's in the film. This movie definitely tugs at your heartstrings for sure. I think this is the only movie that's ever made me tear up while watching it. I teared up in the season 7 premiere of The Walking Dead. I still miss Abraham. And I teared up at the end of this movie. I've never cried watching a movie before, by the way, in case you were wondering. Yeah, I know. I have such a cold, dead, black heart. I just kept watching it thinking, man, my girlfriend would be bawling her eyes out watching this movie. This movie, like, really gets you invested in it. And the characters are just so great. And that's a big part of the reason why, because the characters are really, really good. They're really fleshed out. The exposition in this film is really good. The writing for this film is really, really amazing. It's very investing. And yeah, I mean, this is just an amazing movie. I mean, everything about this movie is just so good. I seriously, Michael Clarke Duncan was just so good in this movie that I really, really believe that it's one of the best on-screen performances of all time. And the relationship that he builds with the prison guards in this movie is really sweet. And you find out more about the reasons why he's in death row at the end of the film. You never really find out all the details of the situation, but you find out enough for you to be like mind blown. This has a big twist toward the end of it, which is really cool. And it's just, this movie really tells a story. I love movies that just really, really want to tell you a really good story. And that's why I like Martin Scorsese so much, is because he always wants to tell you a real story. And this movie does. It tells you just such an investing, emotional story. And you fall in love with it. I fell in love with this movie. It starts out with Tom Hanks as an old man, and then he works at he doesn't work, he lives at a retirement home, and he's talking to a friend of his, and then he reminisces about all this, and then at the end of the movie, you get to come back into modern times where he's old, and it drops another twist on you, and it's such good writing. I seriously cannot praise it enough. This movie, I can't believe that critics didn't like it more than they did, because it is a masterpiece in every sense of the word. And of course, The Green Mile gets a 100. I really wish I had the poster here to show you guys. I cannot find it. If I find it, I'll show it to y'all on like one of my DVD updates or something like that. I got a new Funko Pop. That's about my only update I got to add to the end of this. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to Potted Planet Entertainment for more. Hit the like button. Leave movie review suggestions down in the comments down below. Follow me on Instagram and Tumblr at Potted Planet Entertainment, and much love.